Good to go? All right, we'll get started. We'd like to welcome FedEx Cup leader in 2020 Memorial Tournament presented by Workday champion Jon Rahm to the interview room. Jon, just to get started, how does it feel to be back here at Muirfield Village, a place where you've had a lot of success, obviously, in your career?
Feels good. Feels good. It's always a date I look forward to. Great golf course. It presents a great challenge, so it's something I enjoy. So I'm looking forward to the week. It's like you just said, a lot of good memories in this golf course. So hopefully I can keep adding to it.
All right, we'll take some questions out here. If you have a question, we'll get a microphone to you. We'll start with Dave in the middle.
Morning, Jon.
Morning.
What else makes this tournament special besides just a really good test of golf?
Well, tournament host and the history and legacy you have over here, right? Anytime Jack puts his name into something, it's going to have certain significance. And when you pair with a challenging golf course, it makes it even better, right? I think there's something special around here. Obviously, the course has changed a little bit, and recently it's changed quite a bit, but it still has the same essence, right? That, 2 weeks call yourself a Memorial champion and have that handshake with Jack on 18 is pretty unique. There's little things that make some tournaments better than others, and those little traditions, like that one on 18, is one of those things. It's very special.
Rob?
Yeah, Rob Aller, Columbus Dispatch. Speaking of Jack, on the pecking order of guys you came up following, Seve,
Mm-hmm.
he was out of your era, Jack was. But what are your first memories, and what did you think about Jack Nicklaus? When did you become aware of him, and what were your thoughts coming up?
God, I think golf and Jack Nicklaus go together hand in hand, right? So when you're learning about the game, you're always going to learn about who has the most amount of majors. So the name, I've known him obviously since I was pretty young. The significance of what he did, not till later in my career. Obviously, I focus more on the players that were active at the time and Seve, right? It was later on where I learned a lot more about what Jack did. But my first memories, I would say, it's obviously related to Seve, right? But I think one of the first images I remember seeing is that 86 Masters, which, listen, it is what it is, right? It wasn't the best memory for Spain, but Jack did something amazing then, and that shot on 16 and the putt on 17 are two things that, those images you remember.
Who is the Jack Nicklaus you know, as you've gotten to know him a little bit? How would you describe him, beyond just great golfer?
I never got to know him as a golfer or watch him play live and when he was active, so I can't really tell you that side of him, right? I know Jack, the, let's say, more entrepreneur side of Jack and the golf course designer and the host of this event. He's somebody who cares passionately about golf, right? I think a lot of players from that era were extremely passionate and still are, and you can see it, right? He still obviously has his opinions about the game nowadays and the rules that we have nowadays, which is perfectly fine. And as somebody of his caliber, he can voice them, and I think it's good for the game. So it's somebody who truly loves and respects the game, and something I respect about him because I resonate myself in that.
You got one in the way back?
Hi, Jon. Won here in 20, should have won in 21. You have played this golf course at a level that even among the best players in the world, they would envy the way that you've played it. And I'm wondering why. Why do you think you are such a fit for this specific golf course?
I don't know. It's funny. First time I played here, I played bad. I missed the cut. And I think I told Adam, man, I don't know if I'm ever going back to that golf course. And he was telling me, you're going to go back and you're going to love it. You're tailor-made for that golf course. And funny enough, the next time we came was 2020. It was when we had 2 weeks in a row here. So the Workday event, I didn't play my best, but I finished Sunday with a 64, and that kind of got me going towards the following week and won. So I really don't know. I think it's a golf course you kind of need to learn to play a little bit, right? It gives you a lot of options of a tee in a couple of holes, and getting a couple reps helps. But it's mainly it's a little different to what we play throughout the year. It's target golf, right? You put it on the fairway, put it on the right proper side of the fairway to give you the best angle to the green. Par threes are all difficult, and you have to be really accurate with your iron play. No surprise, Tiger has such a success here, right? You just need to come out and be the best. And while you're doing that, it actually makes you think a little bit more than some of the golf courses do. So it's like I said, it's a fun test, and I think that's why I've played well.
Todd?
John, yeah. So Tiger at Augusta said, talking about scheduling, he would like his event in LA to have a cut. And he also said Jack would like for his event to have a cut. What's your position on at least those legacy events? And you can throw Mr. Palmer's event in there as well. What's your position on having a cut for those events?
You're talking about just those two or the all designated?
No, just
the
the
player-hosted invitationals, so Bay Hill,
So just those?
Riviera, and here.
yeah, or any of them, or should there be cuts on designated?
So I've gone back and forth in this issue. I at first was an advocate for no cut, and the more time has gone by, I've become an advocate for a cut. So I think it's a part of the game, and I think it's an important part of the game. As harsh as it may be to cut out maybe only 20 players, at the flip side, it's only 20 players that you have to beat to make the cut. So I think it's a part of it. You earn your way into the weekend, and then you earn that win. And it's a part I enjoy, and I experienced recently at the PGA, right? I mean, that Friday had a different feel when I was fighting to make the cut, right? It's a different type of pressure, and you never know what, playing good on a Friday to make the cut might ignite towards the weekend. So I think it's a part of it. It's, like I said, it's a part of the history. If that went away, Tiger making 140-something cuts in a row wouldn't have the same significance because that would never be broken again. So, like I said, I pushed for the no cut, and then as time has gone by, I think we should have a cut.
Is there something, if you don't mind me following up, is there something that influenced that shift in your position?
Not a moment or a person or a conversation per se. It was just thinking about it and thinking about what making or missing a cut feels like, right? I take pride on being a consistent player and making a lot of cuts and giving myself chances to win, and I think that's important. I wouldn't know how else to say. I based a lot of my reason before on what I did last year on the playoffs. I think it was at the BMW where through basically round and a little bit, I was basically going to miss the cut. Played 9 good holes and played an amazing weekend and finished in the top 10, right? But who says you always deserve a chance to make the cut and be on the weekend? I don't know. It's just a feeling I had. I wouldn't know how to explain it, right? The Masters being a major is going to be a field that looks a lot like a lot of the designated events will like next year, right? 80-some players, and there's a cut, and nobody says anything about it. And Tiger tying that record of 23 cuts in a row means something, right? So I think the historian and the person who's in love with the game kind of went back and realized that it's something that I actually enjoy a lot.
Go to Doug up here.
Had a lot of changes over the last year on tour, and in your in the way things have been shaped and the input that players have. Do you feel like you have a strong influence on those decisions?
Just me?
Yeah,
I think it's a group effort.
I know it's a group effort, but you as a person, do you feel like your voice is heard strongly, and do you feel whatever influence you have has increased as you've had more success?
I don't know if it's increased or not, but it'll be hard to say because most of what I think for the majority of the time has been supported by quite a good number of players. So it's not like I felt alone in an island, right? Whenever I had a belief and I voiced it, a lot of people thought the same way. So it's hard to say, if I had that influence or I just thought the same way they did. I don't know if it's increased or not. I can't really tell you. I don't think any more of myself because I've accomplished what I've accomplished this year, so I don't know.
We'll go to Dave and then back to Rob.
Yeah, just quickly, are you tired?
Am I tired? I've been tired. I'm good now.
The reason I asked is, you guys have had the schedule of a lot of designated events that you need to play in and so forth, and wondering how that's wearing on you. And Phil Mickelson proffered the notion that Live Golf benefits from not playing as much, and therefore maybe fresher for majors, what have you.
Well, listen, Phil is a friend of mine, but what else is he going to say? Right, he's obviously going to abdicate for his side, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, listen, there's many ways to prepare for a tournament, and my schedule has not changed. Really, right? Like I played 19 events last year from Tour Championship Tournament Champions to Tour Championship, and it'll be the same this year. And it's been the same pretty much every year. So it doesn't change my schedule. It's just what tournaments I've played. That's it. I don't really feel any different about it. I have heard those comments, and well, if he believes it to be true, it's good for him. I don't know. It's hard to say, right? There's been so many different ways of tackling major tournament golf. Phil himself used to always play the week before. Tiger and Jack didn't play the week before, right? So who says it one way is better than the other?
We'll go to Alex and then up here to Rob.
Yeah, John, last week Sergio said that he clearly will not be on the Ryder Cup team. Luke had told him he wouldn't be. He specifically mentioned the fact that he would be missing playing with you, and just was disappointed by that. What's your thoughts about Sergio not being on the team?
I'm going to miss him. We had a great partnership at Whistling Straits. And I'm going to mention history again one more time. A Spanish duo in the Ryder Cup, I think to me is embedded into the roots of the Ryder Cup with what Seve and Ali were able to do throughout their partnership, right? So it's a little sad to me that politics have gotten in the way of such a beautiful event. Again, it's the best Europeans against the best Americans, period. And whatever is going on, who's playing live and who's not playing live, to me shouldn't matter. It's whoever's best suited to represent the European side. And I have a hard time to believe that the best player Europe has ever had, the most successful player Europe has had on the Ryder Cup, isn't fit to be on the team, right? So it's unfortunate. I will miss him. But with that said, I want to be hopeful. It's a couple of Spanish guys playing really good right now, so hopefully they can join me on the team.
Rob, and then we'll finish up with Doug.
Yeah, John, circling back to Doug's question about influence in your voice, have you chimed in on the slow play issue? Do you think it's overblown? Do you have an opinion on it? And what would you do about it, if anything, including rangefinders?
Okay. So I think what happened at Augusta was a little bit taken out of context because Patrick and Victor waited till the 16th hole as well, right? And then on 16, when you see us waiting, Victor went long left of the green, and Patrick hit it just over the bunker on the right, which is a 90-foot putt with 45-foot of break. It's going to take a while to hit those shots, and me and Brooks were playing pretty fast. So I understand how it looked, but we didn't see him on 17 and 18, right? A lot of that was because of being on split tees and twosomes, right? We got to the second hole, and Patrick and Victor were still on the tee, right? So there was a lot of waiting for everybody, not just them. It's a tough subject because, for the most part, when you have a field or, when you have too many players on the field, it's going to be slower. It's just kind of how it is, right? So a lot of times I think field sizes make more of a difference. We rarely hear about it on the playoffs when there's 50 guys on the weekend playing twosomes, right? So it's about how many groups you have out there. It's just going to happen, right? Par 5s are going to get backed up. Difficult par 3s are going to get backed up, and you're just going to have to deal with it. Sort of putting a shot clock next to each other, and I don't even think that's going to help because you have one wayward tee shot, and then you're looking for the ball for a few minutes, and then the group behind you is already caught up, and you're waiting. So I think it's about how many people are on the golf course at the time. With that said as well, I think rangefinders would help. Again, an issue I was abdicate against, then I'm for. And my mind changed to Kiwa. When, with those heavy winds, you could go sideways into those sand dunes, and, a caddy could take quite a while to get a number when they could just shoot it and be done in 3 seconds, right? So I think when we're in the fairway, it won't make much of a difference, but those situations where you're a bit offline, it might save quite a bit of time.
take our last question from Doug in the
Would
front.
it kill you if I told you I had like 3 questions?
Go ahead.
All right. Quickly, have you been on the course yet?
No.
Okay, that's one. So that's out of the way.
I've heard about it, but I haven't.
I wanted to go back to the rivalry for a second in one aspect. Instead of looking forward, if you went back a year and a half ago, and I think there was a lot of voices saying competition will make us better, and you might have been of that same thought. A year later, is this about what you thought it would be?
Oh, you mean with Liv and all that? Sorry, I missed that part. I think we're in the stages of making it better, right? They obviously, I think it was easier for them, right? You're coming out with a new product and it's exciting and it's a little bit easier to feel good about it right early on than for the PGA Tour to change a product that's been in the market for 60 years, right? So it's easier for them to get those changes going and to adapt than it is for a tour that has 40-some events. So we're slowly making that transition into what we think is going to be a better tour. I don't think we have seen the final product yet, and it might be a few years till we see. I don't think it'd ever be a final product, actually. There's always adjustments, right? When the FedEx Cup first came, the playoffs had certain points. It was 4 events, right? Quickly, they reduced the amount of points, and then when we went to 3 events. So it's an ongoing change to make it better.
Do you think where we are right now, and it was brought up already, we got a 20 million event, we got another one at Travelers, and is this what you would have expected, let's say, of January of 22, a year ago?
I don't know if it's exactly what I would have expected. I wouldn't have been able to tell you what I thought was best for the tour, mainly because I'm not knowledgeable enough of what goes on every aspect of the PGA Tour. But I think it's better, yes.
Last question. Of the U.S. Opens you've played, great courses kind of out in the suburbs, whether it's Oakmont or Shinnecock or what have you. You're going to Beverly Hills this year. Is that weird at all to you?
It's odd because I've been at LA Country Club, and I remember when we were there, I think it had already been announced that the U.S. Open would be there, and my first thought was, how the heck are they going to fit anything around here? And second of all, how are we going to get around the traffic in this place? Those are the 2 questions. Golf course-wise, yeah, the golf course is very high quality. The golf course could host any event you want, but it's just logistically, to me, was the hardest part to understand, especially after playing U.S. Opens and seeing everything that comes to it. But they do have a second 18, so I'm guessing they're going to take a lot of that room. Is it weird? No. Is it exciting? Yes.
All right, John, thank you very much for your time. Best
Thank you.
of luck this week.